Hyveraxians, Bin explained, and maybe find a way to help my people. The database room was dimly lit and unguarded, the crew too busy with the pursuit to monitor it. Bin sat before the alien terminal while Tay connected directly to it, translating the interface. What should we look for? Tay asked. Show me who the Veraxians really are, Bin replied. The screens filled with images that made Bin's blood run cold, planets stripped of resources, species captured and sold as specimens, entire civilizations destroyed. Captain Day's crew was notorious even among pirate groups, feared throughout multiple star systems. They're monsters, Bin whispered. Tay's lights dimmed. Not all of us agree with the captain's methods. Some of us were programmed to serve, others were captured like you. Bin scrolled through more records and found something else. Files on other captives currently held in the ship's lower levels. Dozens of beings from different worlds kept in stasis for delivery to collectors. We have to help them, Bin said firmly. Back on the bridge, the situation was deteriorating. 3 Earth vessels had surrounded the pirate ship, herding it away from the asteroid field into open space. Captain, Jin reported, they're deploying some kind of technology I've never seen before. A pulse of energy washed over the ship, and suddenly all weapon systems went offline. The engines sputtered and failed, leaving them drifting. Impossible, Captain Day roared. How can primitives have EMP technology that bypasses our shields? Dr. Sun entered the bridge, his normally calm demeanor shaken. Captain, the human child has escaped containment, and, he hesitated. The specimen containment level reports activity. Captain Day's eyes narrowed. Find the human. Use him as leverage. Tell Earth forces we'll harm their young if they board us. But Bin was already putting his plan into action. Using Tay's access and the knowledge gained from the database, he had connected to the ship's broadcasting system. As Captain Day threatened Earth forces, his own ship betrayed him, sending out images of the captive specimens and the ship's criminal history directly to the Earth vessels. What's happening? Captain Day demanded as his threat was interrupted by his own ship's transmission. Dr. Sun looked at the broadcast with a mixture of horror and admiration. The human child. He's more resourceful than we imagined. Outside, the Earth vessels moved into boarding position. Commander Kang's voice was cold with controlled anger. Captain Day, we are now fully aware of your crimes. Prepare to be boarded. The boarding ramp of the Earth vessel connected with a loud clang to the airlock of the Devourer of Worlds. Commander Kang led a team of 12 soldiers in sleek black armor through the opening. They moved with practiced precision, weapons ready but not yet firing. Captain Day had gathered his remaining loyal crew on the bridge. We will make our stand here, he hissed. These humans may have surprising technology, but they are still soft creatures. First Mate Jin stood slightly apart from the others, his scales showing a dull color that indicated deep worry among his species. Captain, perhaps we should consider surrender. The human child has exposed our operations galaxy-wide. Surrender? Captain Day spat. Never. I would rather destroy this ship and everyone on it. On the lower decks, Bin and Tay had reached the specimen containment level. With Tay's help, Bin had managed to wake Dr. Sun, who had been locked in a storage room by Captain Day's security team. The captain has lost his mind, Dr. Sun said, rubbing his sore arm. He's talking about self-destructing the ship. We need to free the other captives, Bin insisted. Can you help us? Dr. Sun hesitated only briefly before nodding. What the captain has done. It goes against scientific ethics. I should have spoken up sooner. Together they began releasing the captives from stasis. Some were confused, others frightened, but all followed when Bin explained that rescue had come. Meanwhile, Jin had made his decision. As Captain Day ranted about fighting to the death, Jin quietly accessed a control panel and opened all security doors between the Earth forces and the bridge. What are you doing? Captain Day screamed when he realized the betrayal. Saving what's left of our honor, Jin replied simply. The bridge doors opened and Commander Kang's team entered, weapons aimed at the Veraxian crew. Captain Day reached for a hidden weapon, but Jin was faster, grabbing his captain's arm. It's over, Jin said firmly. Commander Kang stepped forward. Captain Day, you and your crew are under arrest for violations of galactic law, kidnapping, and attempted assault on protected species. Protected species? Captain Day laughed bitterly. Humans are primitives. I think it's time we drop the act, said a new voice. Yuna and Do walked onto the bridge, now dressed in the uniform of Earth's Space Command. Behind them came Admiral Han herself. Earth has been part of the Galactic Alliance for nearly 60 years, Admiral Han explained. We maintain a primitive appearance to identify hostile species like yours before making official contact. Captain Day's jaw dropped open in shock. Mom! Dad! Bin's voice rang out as he ran onto the bridge, followed by Tay, Dr. Sun, and the freed captives. Yuna dropped to her knees, embracing her son tightly. Are you okay, sweetheart? I'm fine. Bin smiled. I made some friends. As the Earth forces secured the Varaxian crew, Jin approached Commander Kang. On behalf of those who served under duress, I request mercy. Many of us had no choice in Captain Day's crimes. That will be for the Galactic Council to decide, Commander Kang replied, but your cooperation will be noted. Dr. Sun stepped forward as well. We offer our complete surrender and all knowledge we possess as restitution. The Devourer of Worlds has caused too much suffering. Over the next few hours, the Earth forces transferred all prisoners to their vessels. Captain Day was taken away, in special restraints, still shouting threats. But many of the crew, following Jin and Dr. Sun's example, knelt before the Earth commanders in the traditional Varaxian gesture of deep apology and submission. We beg forgiveness, Jin said formally. We did not understand what we were facing in humanity. 3 months later, Bin sat in the garden of his home playing with Tay. The small drone had been granted asylum on Earth, along with several other crew members who had helped in the rescue. Will Jin and Dr. Sun ever visit? Bin asked his father. Do. Smiled. Once they complete their rehabilitation, yes, they've been valuable in helping us understand more about the wider galaxy. And the bad pirates? They'll face justice, Yuna assured him, joining them in the garden. But thanks to you, many innocent beings were saved. Bin looked up at the stars, now knowing they held both dangers and wonders. I think I want to be an ambassador when I grow up, he announced. I think you already are, Do said proudly, as Tay bobbed in agreement beside them. In the distance, a comm unit beeped with a message from Galactic Command. Earth's secret was now known to many species, but rather than bringing danger, it had earned respect. The story of how a human child had outsmarted notorious pirates had spread across the galaxy, changing perceptions of humanity forever. The pirate who had sought to capture a simple specimen had instead discovered the truth. Humans were anything but primitive, and in their capacity for both cleverness and compassion, they were perhaps the most advanced species of all. We will change course to meet him immediately. First Mate Jin looked troubled. Captain, I've been monitoring Earth communications. They are searching extensively for the missing child. Primitives, Captain Day dismissed with a wave. They will assume their young was taken by one of their own kind. They have no concept of us. What Captain Day didn't know was that Bin had been busy. During Ty's visits, Bin had been watching carefully as the drone opened vents and access panels. The maintenance ducts were small, too small for the reptilian pirates, but just right for an 8-year-old human. That night, after the ship's lights dimmed for the sleep cycle, Bin whispered to the ceiling, Tay, are you there? The small drone appeared moments later. You should be resting, Bin. Can you open the panel behind my bed? Just for a minute? I want to show you something I made. Tay hesitated, but eventually floated to the panel and activated it. The panel slid open, revealing a dark passage. Thank you, Bin said. And before Tay could react, the boy squeezed into the opening and disappeared into the ship's maintenance system. Bin, wait, Tay called softly, torn between alarm and admiration. You cannot navigate the ship alone. But Bin was already crawling through the passage, a small map in his mind from all the ship diagrams Tay had shown him. He wasn't trying to escape, not yet. First, he needed to understand the ship better. And most importantly, he needed to find a way to tell Earth where he was. The alarm blared through the Wilson home as Una and Doe reported their son missing. The local police searched the beach, but found only the strange toy spacecraft near Bin's sandcastle. When Una insisted the toy wasn't Bin's, the officers exchanged skeptical glances. Children went missing every day, they explained gently. Usually it was someone they knew. My son was taken by someone not from this world, Doe insisted, his voice breaking. The police officer wrote it down, but his expression showed clear disbelief. 3 days passed with no sign of Bin. Una and Doe barely slept, their scientific minds racing with possibilities too fantastic for the authorities to accept. On the 4th night, as they sat in Bin's empty room, Doe's secure work phone beeped with an alert. "This is impossible," he whispered, staring at the screen. Una looked over his shoulder. The message was simple. Anomalous signal detected. Origin, beyond lunar orbit. Within hours, a black car with tinted windows arrived at their home. 2 people in plain clothes asked them to come immediately. "It's about your son," was all they would say. The car took them to what appeared to be an ordinary government building, but the elevator went down much deeper than seemed possible. When the doors opened, Una and Doe found themselves in a vast underground complex humming with activity. "Welcome to United Defense Command," said a stern woman who introduced herself as Admiral Han. "What I'm about to tell you requires highest security clearance, but given the circumstances, you need to know." In a conference room with walls covered, in star maps, Admiral Han explained that Earth had known about alien life for decades. The public remained unaware to prevent panic. UDC monitored all extraterrestrial activity near Earth, usually keeping a policy of non-interference. 3 days ago, we detected a cloaked vessel in Earth orbit, Admiral Han said, pulling up grainy images on a screen. And last night we received this. The screen showed a jumble of strange symbols and code. "It's a distress signal," Admiral Han continued. "Our systems translated part of it. It contains human DNA markers. Your son's DNA markers." "Been sent this?" Una asked in disbelief. "Somehow, yes. The signal is incomplete but contains enough for us to identify the vessel. It's a Varaxian pirate ship called the Devourer of Worlds." Commander Kang, a stern-faced man with quiet confidence, stepped forward. "I'm leading the rescue mission. We've been preparing for first contact scenarios for years, though we hoped it wouldn't begin with a kidnapping." Doe looked bewildered. "You have ships that can pursue aliens?" Admiral Han's expression was grim. "We've reverse-engineered enough technology to defend ourselves if needed. The Varaxians believe they're dealing with primitives. They're about to be very surprised." Meanwhile, aboard the Devourer of Worlds, Bin was carefully making his way through the maintenance tunnels with Tay floating anxiously beside him. The small drone had decided to help rather than report the escape. "The communication array is 2 levels up," Tay whispered, "but it will be guarded." "I don't need long," Bin replied. "Just enough time to send a better message." They reached a junction where the tunnel opened into a small control room. No pirates were present, only blinking panels with strange symbols. But Bin had been studying these symbols in the teaching materials Ty had provided. "This controls secondary communications," he said, examining the panel. "I can use it to send a full message with the ship's coordinates." "How do you understand our system so quickly?" Tay asked in amazement. "I like puzzles," Bin said simply, his small fingers already working on the controls. Just as he finished sending the enhanced signal, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Captain Day's voice echoed through the speakers. "All crew to battle. Stations, Earth vessels approaching." Bin looked at Tay with wide eyes. "They found us already." On the bridge, Captain Day was furious. "How did primitives track us beyond their moon? And those vessels, they're not primitive designs." First Mate Jin looked at the scanner readings with growing concern. "Captain, they're gaining on us, and their weapon systems, they appear compatible with galactic standard designs." "Impossible!" Captain Day snarled. "Increase speed. We'll lose them in the asteroid field ahead." But the pursuing Earth vessels were not falling behind. Commander Kang's voice came through on all frequencies. Varaxian vessel, this is Earth Defense Force. Return the human child immediately or face consequences. Captain Day laughed coldly. What consequences could Earth possibly offer? He turned to his weapons officer. Target their lead ship. Show them what real space power looks like. The asteroid field loomed ahead, a chaotic sea of spinning rocks and ice. Captain Day ordered full speed, certain the Earth vessels wouldn't dare follow at such velocity through the dangerous region. Behind him, the bridge crew worked frantically, their scaled fingers dancing across control panels. Weapons locked on Earth vessel, announced the weapons officer. Captain Day bared his teeth in a cold smile. Fire. Energy beams lanced out from the Devourer of Worlds, streaking toward the lead Earth ship. But something impossible happened. The beams scattered harmlessly against an invisible shield. Their defensive technology, Jin whispered in shock. It's beyond Varaxian standards. Before Captain Day could respond, Commander Kang's voice came through again. That was your only warning shot, Captain. Our next response won't be so gentle. Return the child. Captain Day slammed his fist on the command console. This is a trick. Humans are primitives. Captain, Jin said quietly. I don't think they are. Meanwhile, Bin and Tay had made their way to a small observation room. Through the viewport, Bin could see the Earth ships pursuing them, sleek vessels with blue energy glowing along their hulls. My people came for me, Bin said, his eyes wide with wonder. How do your people have such advanced ships? Tay asked. The database says humans have only basic space travel. I don't know, Bin replied honestly, but I need to get to a better hiding place. Captain Day will be looking for me now. They slipped back into the maintenance tunnels, just as a security team rushed past. Bin led them deeper into the ship, toward the database core Tay had mentioned. During their lessons, if I can access the main database, I can learn more about TD. Iris alien pirates kidnap a human child and end up begging for forgiveness. The small coastal town of Mokpo seemed quiet as the sun began to set. 8-year-old Bin played alone on the beach, building an intricate sand castle. His tiny hands worked, with unusual precision for a child his age. The orange glow of sunset made the water shimmer as waves gently lapped against the shore. Bin's parents, Yuna and Do, were scientists at the nearby research facility. They had allowed him to play at the beach near their home while they finished dinner preparations. Be back before dark, Yuna had reminded him with a smile. Bin had nodded seriously, pointing to his watch. Unknown to the peaceful town, a massive ship hovered above Earth's atmosphere. The Devourer of Worlds was invisible to Earth's detection systems thanks to advanced cloaking technology. On the E2 command deck, Captain Day studied the screen showing the small human child below. This specimen shows unusual neural patterns, said Dr. Sun, adjusting his scanning equipment. Far more developed than expected for their primitive species. Captain Day's scaled face showed no emotion as he nodded. The reptilian captain had raided dozens of planets across 3 galaxies. Prepare the collection shuttle, he ordered. No witnesses. First Mate Jin looked uncertain. Captain, the Galactic Council has marked this sector as restricted for observation only. The Council is not here, Day hissed, and this specimen will fetch a high price from Collector Mai. Proceed. With the abduction, down on the beach, Bin had just added the final tower to his sandcastle when he noticed something strange. The air above the water seemed to shimmer and bend. He squinted, thinking it might be heat rising from the sand. But then a sleek object emerged from nowhere. A small shuttle, barely larger than a car, hovered silently over the water. Its surface reflected the sunset, making it look like it was made of liquid metal. Bin stood frozen, his natural curiosity overcoming his fear. The shuttle landed softly on the sand about 20 meters from him. No door was visible on its smooth surface, but suddenly a section of the hull simply disappeared, revealing a dimly lit interior. Hello? Bin called out cautiously. No one answered, but a soft blue light began to pulse from inside the craft. Something in Bin told him to run, but His curiosity was too strong. He took a few steps forward, then stopped. From the shuttle came a small object that hovered in the air. It looked like a toy spacecraft, spinning slowly and emitting the same blue light. The hovering toy moved toward him, spinning faster. Bin reached out to touch it, fascinated by its perfect details. The moment his fingers made contact, a field of energy surrounded him, lifting him off the ground. "Help!" he shouted, suddenly frightened as he floated helplessly toward the shuttle. "Mom! Dad!" But there was no one to hear him. The empty beach received no answer as Bin was pulled swiftly into the shuttle. The hull sealed behind him, leaving no trace it had ever opened. Inside, Bin found himself in a small chamber filled with strange instruments. A sweet-smelling gas hissed from vents in the ceiling, and despite his efforts to hold his breath, Bin soon felt consciousness slipping away. On the ship above, Captain Day received confirmation of the successful capture. "Bring the specimen directly to Containment Cell 3, he ordered. "I want a full neural scan before we leave this system." First Mate Jin watched the view screen as the shuttle ascended rapidly. "Captain, I'm detecting communications from the settlement. They may have noticed something." "Irrelevant," Day replied. "Primitives often see things in the sky. No one will believe the child's disappearance involves beings from another world." As the shuttle docked with the main ship, Dr. Sun prepared his laboratory. "This will be an interesting study," he said to his assistant. "Humans show potential, though the Galactic Council considers them too volatile for contact." Meanwhile, back on the beach, the only evidence of Bin's presence was a half-finished sandcastle and small footprints leading to where the shuttle had landed. Next to the castle lay the toy spacecraft, seemingly abandoned by a child at play. As night fell completely, Yuna's voice called out from the path leading to the beach. "Bin, time to come home." Her calls went unanswered as the Devourer of Worlds silently accelerated away from Earth, carrying her son into the depths of space. Bin woke up slowly, his head fuzzy and his mouth dry. He blinked several times, trying to make sense of where he was. This wasn't his bedroom. The walls glowed with a soft blue light, and he lay on something that felt like a cloud, but looked like metal. "Subject is conscious," a calm voice announced. Bin sat up quickly, fear racing through his body. The room was small with no windows. One wall seemed transparent, like glass, and through it he could see strange figures moving about. They walked, on two legs like humans, but their skin was covered in small scales that shimmered under the lights. Their faces were flat, with large eyes that blinked sideways. Dr. Sun approached the glass wall, studying Bin with interest. "Can you understand me, young human?" he asked, not expecting an answer. To his surprise, Bin nodded slowly. The universal translator Dr. Sun wore wasn't meant for primitive species like humans, but somehow the child seemed to grasp the meaning. "Where am I?" Bin asked, his voice steady despite his fear. "I want to go home." Dr. Sun's eyes widened. "Fascinating. Your brain is adapting to our communication patterns." He made some notes on a floating screen. "You are aboard the Devourer of Worlds, flagship of Captain Day. You have been selected for study." Bin didn't cry. Instead, he looked around his cell, taking in every detail. "My parents will look for me," he said simply. Dr. Sun made a sound that might have been laughter. "Your species has barely reached your own moon. They cannot find you here." Later that day, as Bin sat alone in his cell, he heard a soft, buzzing sound. A small rounded object floated into the room through a vent in the ceiling. It was about the size of a baseball and hovered at eye level with Bin. "Hello," the object said in a friendly voice. "I am Tay, Maintenance Drone Series 7. Bin stared at the floating drone. "I'm Bin. Are you going to help me escape?" Tay moved, back slightly. "Escape? No, that is not possible, but I can make your stay more comfortable." A small compartment opened in Ty's body, and a food packet dropped onto Bin's bed. "This is better than what they normally give specimens." Bin took the packet cautiously. Inside was something that looked like blue fruit. "Thank you," he said. his hunger overcoming caution. The fruit tasted sweet and gave him new energy. Over the next few days, Tay visited regularly, bringing not just food but also teaching tools, small devices that projected images of the galaxy and taught Bin about the ship's technology. "Why are you helping me?" Bin asked during one visit. Tay hovered silently for a moment. "You are different from other specimens. You learn quickly, and—" The drone paused. "No one has ever thanked me before." Meanwhile, Captain Day was growing increasingly interested in his human captive. "The specimen shows remarkable adaptability," Dr. Sun reported during a meeting. "It has already learned basic ship terminology and navigation concepts." "Excellent," Captain Day replied. "Collector Me will pay triple for such an unusual specimen.